Hi, my name is Greg, and you might have one of these Bissell Pro Heat carpet cleaners. And I just recently tried to use mine after not using it for 5 years, which is a long time. And when I tried to turn it on, it didn't work. So I fixed it, and I'm making this video because there's not too many videos on the internet to show you how to fix these things. It doesn't cost a lot of money. First thing was broken was the belt inside the water pump, and I didn't know how to take it apart, and I figured it out after a little while, and I'm going to show you how I did mine. And if you have one of these machines, or you're thinking about getting one, or maybe you know somebody that has one that doesn't work, or maybe you want to buy one at a garage sale and you want to know how to fix it, I'm going to show you how. Okay. On this machine, there's an access door where you can locate the drive belts. And the best way to do this is to lay the handle down. And using a regular slotted screwdriver, put it in the slot, pry it up a little bit. And there's the drive belts. This one drives the water pump. And there's another belt in there that drives the brushes. So to remove this and replace it, if it's broken, when I tried to turn mine on, this belt was rotten and it broke. So I had to buy a new one. It's about $5. What you do is you turn it up on its side. And there's this red slotted part that keeps the belt aligned. It's like a belt alignment. There's a Phillips head screw that you want to remove. Phillips head screw. There's only one. It's really easy to do. So you just remove that screw. And this pulls out. And then you can remove this device. It pulls out like so. There's the belt that drives the brush, and this belt has teeth on it. So to remove that, you just pull it out, and inside there is the if you can see on this side, there's not enough light. Let me do this again. There's a motor shaft. All you do is pull it off the motor shaft, the belt for the water pump. And then it comes off real easy. In the case of it being rotten, it just comes off. So all you do is you turn it on its side to replace. Let's say this is a brand new belt. Put it on its side and put it over the little shaft, the water pump shaft. Push it up in there. This belt goes on, there's like a large pulley. There's a large pulley and there's a smaller pulley with teeth on it. So it goes on the large pulley. And then all you do is you put the the belt. Let's see, it's kind of dark. Put the belt over the motor shaft. Spin it around a couple of times, make sure it's seated, and then to put the drive belt back on the brush, turn it on its side. Okay. To replace this drive belt for the brush, put it up there over the tooth end. There's a tooth drive pulley, and then put it on the brush pulley. Replace this alignment part. It's like a brush bearing part. Put it up in there. And make sure it turns before you put everything back together. Make sure everything turns. Because I put it back together and it didn't turn, and when I turned it on, it nearly stripped out the new belt. And then put this guide back in. Make sure when you put this guide thing back in, it's like the brush alignment tool or the pulley alignment tool, so that the belt doesn't come off. Put that part in there first, then put the screw in second. Crap, come on. There. Turn it in there until it's snug and tight. And then make sure that the brush turns, so you know it isn't locked up. Make sure that this thing turns. Once you know it turns, you're sure you're okay. Alright. That part done. You got the pulley belt replaced. If you need to replace the pulley belts, then that part's done. Just put this back on. Okay, when I turned on the machine after replacing the belt, it didn't work. It wouldn't spray water to the floor. So what I did is, you want to remove the handle. The handle's one plastic part. This whole part is the handle. You remove 2 screws using a Phillips head screwdriver. This. Is there's 2 nuts in the back, two nuts in the back. Push the screw out through the hole in the back. Push the screw out the hole in the back. Get a slotted screwdriver and pry this up. You got to pull the back of the hose. The hose assembly has to be pulled off the back to do this. Shit. once you get that slot in there and it goes, you're okay. Okay, that's how you remove the handle. Do that laying down. I'm doing this standing up so you can see it. Okay, pull that stuff out of the way. There's two screws to remove here at the base of the hose keeper. So you just take a Phillips head screwdriver, unscrew these two screws. Then remove the other screw. So that's two screws removed. Put the base back down again. And all you do is you lift this thing up. It just lifts up after you remove those two screws. Then there's two wires that go for the light. You know, when you turn it on, this light goes on. There's two wires. When you pull this up, there's two wires attached to that light. So on this one, black on top, white on bottom, just pull them off. If you pull it off like that, hold the connector so you don't pull the connector off. You can remove this part. Put that back together later. And there's what you got inside. So you have those two wires that go to the light. And those are loose like that. So you know what those do. At this point, it'd be a good idea to use the piece of paper and write down where the wires go. Note their positions. So when you look at this, you got green wires here, two green wires on the left. On the top, on this one on mine, there's the white connectors on the top and the black connectors on the bottom. So make a little picture of this thing. And you got green wires, green, and then you got a connector here and a connector there. This is black, and this is white. And then you go over here and you pull the wires off. I use a pair of pliers to do that. So you got this wire to pull off. Just pull off this one. And that disconnects the black. And then the white wires are connected via one terminal. So just pull all that off. That's another one you pull off. So that's the white wires. And then you pull off the green wires. You can use pliers or you can wiggle them off with your hands. But you don't want to pull off the whole connector and break it. So this, now that you disconnected it, you can pull it out. It comes apart. Okay, so it's free, it's almost free. All you gotta do now is, there's two water hoses. See, there's two water hoses. Right here and down here. So you disconnect those using the pliers. It's going to be a little bit of water come out, it's not a big deal. move the connector away from where it's connected, and then pull it off. Do the same on the bottom one. Using the pliers, pinch the connector together to hit the hose clamp. And pull it back. Let's see here. Pull it back into the hose. You don't have to remove it, just move it down the hose a little bit. And then pull out the connector. Now this thing's got water in it because I just used it, but I hadn't used it in 5 years. It didn't have any water in it. Okay, here's the trick. This is called the heating unit. This is the heating unit. Okay? You just drain out all the water. In case, you probably haven't used it, it'd be dry. Mine was dry when I took mine apart. So I drain out the water. And then you want to remove these screws. There's 7 screws. Use a Phillips head screwdriver to do that. And then this back plate, remove that. And before you start cleaning this thing up, you got to remember that there's these very small O-rings that you can lose. And I did ended up losing some of them, and I had to find them again. So there's these 5 red O-rings on each of the interior screws. The 2 exterior screws didn't have them. So watch for the 5 red O-rings. Okay, this is when you take the drill bit. This is a 1/8 inch drill bit. It may be a smaller one on yours, but this is a 1/8 inch drill bit. And these 2 ports, inlet and outlet, both of these ports, the water goes through here and around, goes in one, comes out the other. And one of these was completely plugged with rust. So I took the drill bit, and I didn't use a drill, I used just by hand. Little by little, I freed up the rust and pulled out the rust. Then I did it on the other one. Put the drill in there, twist it around just by using your fingers until you finally get the rust out of there. And then you put it back together. This thing is really non-serviceable. So the only thing you can really do is, if this is plugged up, if one of these ports is plugged up, you unplug it using the drill bit. And then put this back together. Same way it came apart. 7 screws. Remember that the O-rings have to be in there. Those keep the water from gurgling out. If it doesn't seem to screw in, what I do is I turn it backwards and then wait until it clicks a little bit, and then Then I feed it in. Gotta get it pretty tight. Not way tight, but just pretty tight. Do it on this side too. There. And that's basically all you gotta do. Now you put it back together. Put the outlet and inlet ports back on the water tubes. Seated in there. There's a rubber grommet that holds this thing in. And then there's a centerpiece that provides resistance. You get it in there and you put these on the same way they came off. I put the lower one on first because it's the hardest one to put on. Put it on. Put the hose clamp back on over the flange. Put this one back on. Hose clamp over the flange. And then referring back to the wiring diagram, put the green goes back here, green, green, the white one goes on the top, the black one goes on the bottom, black, let's see, white. Okay, everything's hooked up the way it came off. I'm going to replace the cover, the lower cover. And the lower cover, it goes, there's two notches that go into where the wheel is. So right there's a notch where it goes in where the wheel is. Okay, it goes on both sides, right there where the wheel is. And then you just fold it down, fold the cover down, and as you're getting close, to closing it, then you hook up the wires again. Black on top, white on bottom. Close the top. Replace the screws in the back of the upper cover. Fold it up a little bit. Place the screws. Have to be super tight because they're plastic. That's it. Put that there like that. Put the handle back on. You have to push this the hose. Push that down a little bit. There's two little screw things that interfere, and push it together. Okay. These are the remaining screws to put back together. So they're like 2.5 inch bolts or 2.5 inch screws that go into the back or through the back. So what I do is screw in there like that. Screw in there like that. Push it through. And you gotta lift this thing up. And put the hex nut in there. On this side, hold your finger over it while you turn the other side, and it'll thread. Lock it all up nice. There's that. Put that little hex nut in there like that. Turn the screw on the other side till it catches the thread. Check that the trigger works. The trigger has to work when you're done with this. There's a spring tension that the trigger will return when you push it in, it'll return. Then you're done. Then you give it a test to make sure everything works. So then coil back up, coil everything back up. Coil everything back up, put the cord back on there. It should be done. Okay. I hope that helped you. It took me all day long, a whole afternoon to figure out how to fix this thing. I had to drive down to get the drive belt for the water pump. The belt for the brush was okay, so I reused that. And then I had to figure out how to unplug the heating unit inside the handle. So I hope this helps you save your entire day in frustration. And get you able to clean your carpet again. Hope this helps. Yeah, if you like my video, subscribe to my channel, leave comments, favorite the video. Most importantly, watch all my other videos.